A very good afternoon. This is Lunchtime News on MTV and you're with me, Dasuniya Powder. Let's start off with a look at your headlines.
Funeral of the late Most Venerable Maduluwave Sobitha to take place this afternoon. President pays his last respects to the remains of Most Venerable Maduluwave Sobitha. Special traffic plan from Kotte to Parliamentary grounds. Anti-corruption front says that 9 billion rupees have been misused in the construction of the Northern Railway line.
Local news, a female student had died while her sister sustained injuries after being knocked down by a school bus in Hettipola this morning. A tense situation arose between the locals and the police after the incident took place. The time period granted for the public to pay their final respects to the mortal remains of late Most Venerable Maduluwave Sobitha ended at 12 noon today. The final rites of late Most Venerable Thera are scheduled to commence at 1 this afternoon.
President Maithripala Sirisena arrived to the Kotte Sri Naga Vihare today to pay his last respects to the late Most Venerable Maduluwave Sobitha. Large crowds have been arriving at the Sri Naga Vihare in Kotte since this morning to pay their last respects to the late Most Venerable Maduluwave Sobitha. I pray that we be born in the same lifetime as the Most Venerable Sobitha is born.
පන්සලේ රැඳී ඉන්න අවස්ථාවේ තාත් කෙනෙක් වගේ ළඟට ඇවිදින් ගිලන්පස ටික ලබා දෙමින් අපට සම්බුද්ධ ශාසනය ඉදිරියට ගෙන යන විදියට අවවාද අනුශාසනා කළා. පුංචි හාමුදුරුවෝ වැඩ හිටියොත් තමයි මේ ශාසනය රැකෙන්නේ.
When we were ordained into the Buddhist clergy when we were little, he preached us the teachings of Buddhism while taking care of us like a father. The sasana will be protected only if the adults look after the young bhikkhus. This is what the Venerable Thera always tried to do. Now it is quite saddening that he has passed away. Now we are afraid that the program which he commenced will come to a standstill. Therefore it is our hope that all of us, including the Venerable Thera's relatives, come together to continue what he started.
The final rites of the Most Venerable Maduluwave Sobitha will be conducted later this afternoon under full state honours at Parliament grounds in Sri Jayawardhanapura, Kotte.
විහාරස්ථානයෙන් පස්වරු එකට පිටත් වී ප්‍රධාන පාරේ ඇතුල් කෝට්ටේ
The mortal remains of the Most Venerable Thera will leave the Vihare at 1 p.m. and will proceed to the Parliament grounds along Parliament Road via Kotte, and at 3 p.m. the final rites will be conducted under full state honours under the patronage of the Mahanayakas and Anunayaka Theros.
කටයුතු සිදු කිරීමටයි අතිගෞරවනීය මහානායක මාහිම්පාන් වහන්සේ අනුනායක මාහිම්පාන් වහන්සේලාගේ අවවාද අනුශාසනා පරිදි කටයුතු සිදු වෙනවා.
A special traffic plan has been put in place from Kotte to Parliament grounds as the mortal remains of the late Most Venerable Thera will be brought to Parliament grounds for the final rites to be performed. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Home Affairs stated that all state institutions have been instructed to hoist the national flag at half-mast today in respect to the Most Venerable Maduluwave Sobitha.
Most Venerable Maduluwave Sobitha, for ushering in a new era, for dedicating yourself to the people, may you attain Nibbana.
Preparations are underway at the Parliament grounds for the final rites of the late Most Venerable Maduluwave Sobitha. Our correspondent said that 10,000 seats have been set up for the Mahasangha and the general public. The Triforces has been deployed in the area to maintain security. Now in more local news, the anti-corruption front says that creating a just society is the highest honour that could be granted to fulfill the wishes of the late most venerable Maduluawe Sobitha Thera. These views were expressed at the media briefing convened in Colombo.
The only way we could honour the late Thera is by addressing the grievances and fulfilling the requests made by him. Therefore, we, as part of the voice against corruption, would like to appeal from the government to put the requests into action before his third month almsgiving. Views were also expressed on the alleged misappropriation that took place during the construction of the Northern Railway line. Expeditious measures should be taken to look into certain misappropriations which took place in the tender procedure when constructing the Northern Railway line in terms of the signal systems and railway stations, and file cases against those responsible. According to Priyal Silva, who was appointed to compile a report on this matter, an estimated $7 million had been misused for the construction of 26 train stations. It has been observed that proper procedures were not adhered to even when calling for tenders. This could be done through the railway department rather than involving private companies.
Railway services along the Northern Railway line has been disrupted after a train derailed between the Senaratgama and Thambutegama. The railway's control room stated that an express train travelling from Vaunia to Mathura derailed at around 6:20 am this morning at the 109th milepost. The railway control room also noted that the 4 carriages and an engine have derailed. Our correspondent noted that the train suffered serious damages as a result of the derailment. They further said that steps and measures are underway to restore services. In more local news, an island-wide dengue eradication program will be launched today for a period of 3 days. The Ministry of Health stated that the program has been launched as the prevalent weather conditions could cause an increase in the spread of dengue. 23,139 cases of dengue have been reported during this year. The Ministry of Health added that this program has been launched to mitigate the increase of number of dengue patients in the Colombo district. Well, moving back to some of our local stories, a female student had died while his sister sustained injuries after being knocked down by a school bus in Hettipola this morning. A tense situation arose between the locals and the police after the incident took place. The police media spokesperson's office stated that the 2 students met with the tragedy when they were crossing the road in close proximity to their school. While the deceased was a 9-year-old, her 13-year-old sister was admitted to the Hettipola hospital for treatment. The driver of the bus was taken into custody. And that's a wrap of Lunchtime News. Join us again at 1:55 for more of the very latest. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Dasni Athada.